Hello, my friends. I want to start this episode with a really powerful question. I believe that if we're truly ambitious, if we genuinely care about our future, if we sincerely want our life to become better in terms of success and achievement, then at least once, whether consciously or unconsciously, we've thought about this question. So, what is this question? It's this: how do we get what we want through interaction with other people? For example, at work, maybe we want a promotion or a raise. What we want here is that promotion, that raise. And those things exist within the dynamics of interaction with others. Why? Because we can't promote ourselves. We can't give ourselves a raise. Someone else has to do it. That's why I call it how to get what we want through interaction with others. Or, let's say you're in school. You want to become an excellent student. You want to earn scholarships. You want to be admired and respected. And even in our daily interactions, we all want to be liked, to be appreciated, to become someone attractive and respected. Now, this episode will focus a lot on that third point I just mentioned, how to become someone who is liked, attractive, and respected. But remember, once you truly understand the principle behind it, not only will you achieve the third one, you'll also nail the first and the second as well. Honestly, it's that powerful. So look up at today's title, How to Be Liked, Valued, and Respected. Did any of you feel curious, maybe even eager to know the answer? Actually, I could give you the answer right now, but let's make it a little fun, like a mental game. Let me throw the question to you first. Try to answer it yourself. You can pause this video for a minute or even just a second and think about it. It'll be a great warm-up before we dive deeper into this lesson, right? And here's another fun part. Who knows? Maybe your answer matches mine. If that happens, it's almost like we're connected by some kind of telepathy, and that's pretty exciting, isn't it? So go ahead, pause for a second if you want, and once you've thought about your answer, let me continue. So, what's the secret to becoming attractive and respected? My friends, it comes down to just two words. Did any of you guess the same as me? Optimization. If your answer matched mine, that's amazing. If it didn't, then you need to listen even more carefully, because this idea might be completely new to you, and it can bring huge value to your life. If you want to become someone who's attractive and respected, you need to clearly understand these two words. Optimization. So what does optimization mean? It means identifying the criteria that allow you to score points in the eyes of others, and then meeting those criteria as best as you can. That's the truth. When you fulfill those criteria really well, you naturally become attractive and respected. That's the formula. That's the story. And let me tell you this honestly, this is almost the only way to truly be liked, to win people over. Optimization is nearly the only path. All right, let's take an example. Let's say you're a guy and you want to become attractive and respected in the eyes of the girl you're pursuing, right? Well, the only way, pretty much the only way to pursue her is optimization. Remember this. She will never like you if you stay in the position of the pursuer. If you expect her to meet your criteria, forget it. It's never going to happen. Unless she happens to like you first, that's a different story. But if you're the one who likes her first, then you have to optimize for her criteria. And if you say things like, I am who I am, I live for myself, I'll never change, I'll never do this, I'll never do that, then congratulations, you will never win her over. You won't have a single chance of conquering her heart. The story of winning someone over comes down to just two words: optimize their criteria. So first, you've got to figure out, what are her criteria? Let's be blunt. What does she like? Find a few things that she likes most, values most, and study them. Then meet those criteria. That's the core. Of course, I know there will be people who don't like this approach, who will try something different. But let me just remind you of one thing. If you try your own way for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and you still don't succeed, don't forget this lesson I'm giving you right now. You need to understand what the game of winning someone over is about. Whether it's winning over someone you love, winning over a customer, winning over a boss, there are only two words: optimize. Find out what they want, what they like, and meet that. Period. And of course, this is totally different from flattery. I'll explain that a little later. Now, let's go back to the girl you like. Imagine her top 3 criteria are intelligence, financial stability. Someone who is caring and understanding toward her. There you go, 3 things. Once you identify her top criteria, then your job is to optimize for them. You work on becoming smarter so she'll admire you. You build wealth so she'll respect you. You show care and understanding when you interact with her so she'll feel connected to you. And here's where many guys suddenly realize, but how can I do that? Out of nowhere, I have to be rich just to win her over? I'm just a student. Now I suddenly have to be brilliant. My personality is rough and suddenly I have to be gentle and understanding? How can I possibly do that? Well, if you can't, then she'll simply fall for someone else who already meets her criteria, and she won't choose you. That's it. Simple. That's the story of attraction. It's very straightforward, right? That's why in love sometimes someone prefers guy A over guy B. How do we explain that? We could just say guy A is better, guy B is worse. But that kind of explanation doesn't really teach us anything. If we break it down, the truth is guy A optimized better for what she values. He figured out exactly what she likes, admires, prioritizes, and he matched it. That's why he won. It's as simple as that. The principle isn't hard at all. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. I can already hear your doubts in your head. Don't worry. I'll address them in a bit. But let's finish this thread first. The secret to winning someone over, the secret to making them feel good about you, in their mind, in their eyes, in their thoughts, is very simple. Optimization. If you meet their criteria, they'll like you, and the reverse is also true. You work the same way. If someone is trying to win you over, how would you like them? Of course, they'd have to optimize for your criteria. Otherwise, they don't stand a chance with you, right? The moment you flip the perspective, it makes total sense. Now, I know some of you who have followed me for a long time and listened to my talks on love might think this sounds a little contradictory. You've heard me say before, love sincerely, don't play games. And that's true. So here's how I want you to understand it. What I'm sharing here is about the parking lot stage of love. If you really, really like someone, but unfortunately they don't like you back, then you need to switch on this conquer mode. Because if you just sit there nice and passive like a soft piece of dough, nothing's going to happen. So think of this lesson as the parking lot part of love. If you want to win someone over, you need to play this game. Once you succeed, once they like you back, once they open the door and give you the green light, then love them sincerely, just as I've always taught. Each stage has its own rule, because if you can't even get into the parking lot, don't even dream about the laps inside. Make sense? Now let's touch on something else, something I'm sure most of you will recognize right away. Here's the problem. When it comes to winning someone over, most people simply can't optimize fast enough. Because optimization takes time, and she won't wait for you. She'll choose someone who already meets her criteria. That's why so many hot girls end up choosing guys who already optimize really well for them, instead of choosing guys who only say, "But I'm sincere." And here's the bitter truth. A lot of men spend their lives bitter and resentful, saying things like, "I was sincere, but she didn't choose me." Well, of course, sincerity might be your number 1 criterion, but for her, it could be number 10. What she wanted from the very beginning might have been something completely different. And you didn't have it. You couldn't optimize for it in time. That's the harsh reality. And as bitter as it may feel, it's something we just have to accept. All right, let's put it this way. Optimize before you even set a target to conquer. Before you want to win someone over, optimize yourself first. Develop yourself first. That way, when that person shows up, you're already ready. You just step in and go for it. And sometimes you won't even have to try hard. It just clicks. It just works instantly. Because like I said earlier, every good thing, every valuable thing in life takes time. There's no such thing as, "I want it today, I'll have it tomorrow." Life doesn't work that way. That's why those who have been disciplined since young, who put in effort early, who keep developing themselves, they have so many advantages in life. Because when opportunities appear, they're already prepared. They conquer. For example, say you meet a girl who values someone caring and attentive. Well, if you've been selfish all your life, how could you win her over? But let's say there's another guy. Since he was young, he already had the awareness. Maybe I should practice listening, practice understanding, because people will probably like me more if I do. And maybe he trains that skill for half a year and boom, he meets her. Instant connection. Everyone has criteria in their head. Honestly, everyone does. Nobody is without them. The only question is, do you meet them or not? And if some of you are more practical, thinking, well, money would make things easier. Having financial stability helps in winning people over, makes others respect you differently. You're absolutely right. Financial security is a huge criterion that many people value. So optimize it, work on it. Because life speaks through results. People don't care about your promises. They want to see what you can actually do. That's why when you're young, you've got to study, work hard, build your foundation. You don't need to be someone famous or extraordinary, but your career should be solid. You should have expertise in your field, a stable income. By the time you're 30 or older, you should at least hold a decent position, something respectable in your company. You can't just drift through life day after day, wasting away. And once you have that position, people will naturally notice you, admire you. Sometimes you won't even need to chase anyone. They'll see your value themselves. So here's the principle. Optimize before the target shows up. Even if you don't yet know who you'll want to win over, you can start by asking yourself, what kind of person would I be drawn to? And what would that kind of person value? Then go optimize those things in yourself. Often the things others value will overlap with what you value. If that happens even better, it means you're optimizing for yourself first. And when others see it and appreciate it, you've got an advantage. Of course, remember, this is still the parking lot stage. But the truth is, many people don't even make it past the parking lot. Life is harsh and practical that way. Now, if you can honestly say, well, I don't care. I don't want to win anyone over in this life. Then fine, skip this entire lesson. But you'd better be truly happy with that choice. Because if deep down you're craving attention, craving to be respected and admired, but on the surface you keep pretending like, I'm fine alone, I don't need anyone, then you're just creating inner conflict, and that's exhausting. I'll say it outright. Many people are secretly bitter that their boss doesn't value them. Honestly, whenever I meet someone like that, always frustrated, always jealous of coworkers who are favored by the boss, I just ask them, do you even know what your boss values? Have you optimized for what your boss prioritizes? And many people will get upset at that question. They'll say things like, why should I care what he values? He's not my father. Why should I suck up to him or meet his preferences? He should care about what's right, not just what he likes. He's just my boss, that's all. And to that I'll say, fair enough. That's one way to look at it. But here's the truth. If you want to play that game, then go start your own business. Be your own boss. Then you can do whatever you want, however you want. But right now, if you're working under someone, if that company belongs to them, then whether you get a raise, a promotion, or trust, all of that is in their hands. And if you're not only refusing to optimize for them, but also demanding that they optimize for you, well, who do you think you are? If it's their system, their company, their authority, then you've got to meet what they value. Maybe they hate late submissions, then optimize for punctuality. Maybe they prize creative thinking, then optimize your creativity, because they're the ones grading you, not the other way around. If you want an A, you've got to meet their criteria. That's just how it works. And people who don't get this will never move up. Unless, of course, you're a genius, part of that rare 1%. Maybe you're such a prodigy that at 17, 18 years old, you're already a star, already in demand. If that's you, then fine. You don't need this advice. But for the other 80, 90% of us living in the real world, if we're part of a system where others evaluate us, then we have to optimize. There's no other way to grow. And let me clear this up again. This is not the same as flattery. Many people confuse the two. They'll say, but what if my boss values nonsense? Do I have to optimize for that too? What if I want to improve the company, but the boss doesn't like it? Do I just have to swallow it? Lie to myself? My friends, there are a few things I really want to explain here. Because, sometimes when you just glance at two things, they might look almost the same. But if you really break them down, they're not the same at all. They're completely different. And these are the kinds of questions that once you hear them and really think deeply about them, you'll be able to tell the difference for yourself. For example, the difference between flattery and simply understanding that you need to optimize yourself in order to grow, in order to move up in the ladder of any company. Later on, even if you become a boss yourself, you'll also be the one evaluating your employees. There's no way around that. Now let me ask you the first question. When you go to work, do you want your boss to acknowledge you or do you want to be right? It's simple. Do you want to be acknowledged by your boss or do you want to always prove that you're right? And when I say right, I mean recognized as right by others, not just something you personally believe is true. Because what your boss thinks is right, you might think is wrong. That's the tough part. So here's the deal. Do you want to prove that you're right and they're wrong, or do you want to be trusted and recognized by someone who has power? You have to choose. And if you want to be acknowledged, then you need to meet the criteria that person has set. That's it. They have the authority. This is the harsh reality of life. And like I said earlier, one day when you're the boss, you'll also be setting the criteria for your employees. That's just how it works. The second thing to remember, this is just the parking lot round. Before anyone will ever listen to your great ideas, they need to actually like you first, isn't it true? When people like you, they're more willing to listen. Sometimes people want to jump straight to the final round, but they forget that they haven't even passed the parking lot round yet. It's the same for you too. If someone tries to convince you of something, and you don't even like them, or worse, you actually dislike them, it doesn't matter if they're right 100 times over. You won't listen. You'll listen to the person you like more. So how do you make someone like you? By meeting more of the criteria that matter to them, their personal values. And when you do that, they'll naturally feel drawn to you. And once they like you, their heart opens. And when their heart opens, their ears will naturally follow. That's the key. Before opening someone's ears, open their heart first. Now, the third point, what if your boss has really bizarre preferences, things that no one could ever meet? Well, then it's simple. Quit. Free yourself. That's your freedom. If the company is too strange, too weird, then go find another one. If you have skills, talent, and competence, you'll always have a place to work. So there's no need to flatter anyone, but I want to make this clear. Even when you move to another company, a wise person understands that people will still evaluate you there. The only real question is, do their evaluation criteria conflict with your core values? If they do, if they trample on or insult your values, then don't stay. But if it's not that serious, then you need to adapt. Because the truth is, life doesn't always bend to our way. More often, it's the other way around. We adapt to the world in the areas where we can. And here's the fourth thing I want to emphasize. If you really want to be promoted or get a raise, you need to understand something. Let me repeat this clearly. Who is the one promoting you? Can you promote yourself? No. Someone else has to promote you. You can't just assign yourself as manager or appoint yourself as director. Someone above you has to place you in that seat. And if you understand this, then you also have to understand you need to play by their rules. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's fair, it's logical. And if you feel their rules are too toxic, then go find another place. Simple as that. But if you want to be recognized and valued where you are, you have to play by their game. That's very practical, right? I'm not talking about some lofty idea floating in the clouds. The reason I spend so much time on this point is because I see so many people who just don't understand this law. They walk into someone else's company and expect the company to play by their rules. But like I've said so many times already, the chair, the air conditioner, the plants in that office, none of it belongs to you. And yet you expect them to serve you, to listen to you? How does that even make sense? If that's what you want, Then go start your own company. Be your own boss. That's the only way. My friends, please remember this. When it comes to conquering anything in life, whether it's people, opportunities, or success, it's all about optimization. It's about meeting the criteria. As long as you don't fully understand this, then honestly, it's just luck, pure luck, if someone happens to like you or respect you. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Even if you're the boss, that doesn't automatically mean people will like or respect you. In fact, sometimes it's the opposite. You may end up feeling very lonely, because in the eyes of others, you might not meet any of the criteria that matter to them. Now, of course, some people's standards are really simple. They just want you to listen to them a little more, and suddenly, you're in their good graces. Or they just want you to dress neatly instead of sloppy, and instantly they respect you. For some people, it's even more straightforward. For example, this is real, they just love music. And if you can sit down and have a genuine conversation about music with them, they'll be drawn to you. There are countless little things like that. But the important part is this. Wherever you go, with whomever you meet, you need to ask yourself, what does this person value? What do they hold in high regard? And can I meet that? That's the key. And that's why I've shared so many episodes about communication. Because communication is one of the most powerful ways to meet someone's criteria. It's the skill that can lift you up anywhere you go. The ability to speak well, to speak with nuance. That's something people deeply value. They may not openly admit it, but trust me, people love good conversation, and that's why I've created so many episodes about it. So let's pause for a moment and review today's message. This is one of my heartfelt lessons, but I want to share it in a down-to-earth way, like two friends sitting on the ground, just talking things out together. Here it is again. Optimization is the path to conquering others, to earning their love and respect. Whenever you meet someone new, if you genuinely want them to like and respect you, you need to figure out what they value most and whether you can meet those values. And of course, if their standards are toxic, just walk away. Simple as that. But the wiser move is to prepare in advance. Don't wait until you meet someone to scramble and adapt. Instead, create a list of the values and qualities that you believe are important, not only to you, but also to society. And start optimizing yourself in those areas ahead of time. That way, when you meet the right people, you'll click instantly, without effort. Of course, there are areas of life that are more complex, like love, marriage, family. And remember this, when it comes to love, that initial conquering stage is just the parking lot round. After that, love unfolds in a completely different way. You can't conquer forever, right? I've talked about those deeper layers of love in other episodes, so feel free to go back and listen to them if you'd like. But for today, this episode has already gone on long enough. Thank you so much for listening, for spending your time with me. I truly wish you health, happiness, and joy. And if you found today's sharing meaningful, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the upcoming episodes. Your support is what keeps me going, and it gives me the energy to keep creating more meaningful content for you. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.